This is going to be so silly.
The fan really was blowing my hair.
It looked good.
Oh, I should go back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Segment Podcast. This is episode 156. We are in Bentonville, Arkansas. I've got some epic guests in the house. And hey, by the way, if you got kids around for this one, you might want to go ahead and put them to bed or play this one a little bit earlier in the morning. I got the Jameis Riders up in here, two of like the coolest girls that I know. I have co-hosting in the co-host chair tonight, Miss Amanda Hamilton in the house.
Greetings, my segment followers.
Hello. It's already going to get silly. And Amanda's going to help me co-host the fabulous, the notorious, the totally epic MTBSheenQueen, Miss Kim Churchill is in the house.
Oh,
I think I got a better intro.
It was a solid intro.
Yeah.
I have to point it out, Mark.
Sure.
When me and you did an intro, you were just like, hey, this is Amanda, and you didn't have me on this fantastic audio equipment, and Miss Sheen Queen over here gets all this professional stuff. So I'm taking notes.
I mean,
know.
The queen is in the name.
That is fair.
The queen is in the I don't want to lose my head.
It's fair.
Yeah,
it's fair.
Off
right?
with his head.
Yes.
I'll let it slide, but there's going to be some dirty looks during the podcast for sure.
Well, this is why I have you in the co-host chair, to make it up to you in this fabulous studio up here at the top of Kohler Mountain Preserve.
And thank God it's air conditioned because it's about 86 and full sun in Bentonville, Arkansas right now.
Yeah.
And 86 in the Midwest is a different beast than anywhere. Like for us, California, New Mexico, it's such a dry heat.
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat.
Yeah.
And 86 isn't that bad for us. But you come out here, you get outside, and you laugh a little bit, and you're fully sweating.
Right.
So definitely had to get used to that.
I felt like I was going to pass out today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have been subsisting off of solely energy drinks and protein chips.
Yes.
And I'm fading fast, I got to tell you.
Yeah. Same. I was beer, coffee, no water, ride, get a meal like late at night, and then repeat.
You know what, though? The beer, it's got good carbs.
It
so
does.
That's pretty much health.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Health as well.
Yeah.
Health is wealth.
Yeah. I mean, we probably got at least another 5 days of beer and coffee and riding in us.
Right? Let's ride this all the way to the end. Squealing sideways.
Mark, is this your first time in Bentonville?
Second time.
How are you liking it a second time around now that you're here again?
I like it because the first time I was here, I was on an analog bike. I was on my YT Capra, and I only got a chance to see like a limited amount of things. I did hammer down, drop the hammer, like all the stuff in Kohler.
Yeah.
I did the Masterpiece a little bit at Slaughter Pen, but now with the e-bike, it's like wherever. The answer is yes. Do you want to go? Yes. Do you want to? Yes.
Exactly. And I mean, Bentonville, I think, is so concentrated in all the amazing trails that you accidentally catch yourself riding 30 miles a day.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. At the end of the day, you're like, why am I so thrashed? And it's like, I just rode across the whole town and did all these fantastic trails.
Yeah.
So like me and Kim were talking about this. It was like, we went to like Outer Bike Moab and all these other big mountain bike destinations. And I think I rode more my first day in Bentonville than I did 3 days worth in a place like Moab.
Wow.
Because it's so easy to get to all these fantastic trails.
Yeah.
And you can't say no to them. Because everyone's like, hey, do you want to go ride this? And it's like, of course I do.
Yes.
And so I think it's pretty easy to get yourself overheated, kind of tired, but man, is it worth it.
Yeah.
It is.
Kim,
Yeah,
how are
like,
you feeling?
It's like, all right, one more. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. I'm bonked, I'm zonked, but okay, one more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The dopamine hits here are wild.
Yeah.
So heavy.
Yes.
It's so good. And for the folks out there listening in, like, you gals are on analog bikes. So I was just saying how I was on an E, and the answer is yes. You guys are on analogs, and you're like, yes.
Yes. I mean, yeah, it gets you fit pretty fast out here.
Yeah.
But I do see why everyone rides e-bikes out here. And I think for those folks who don't really ride bikes in the Midwest, they're like, why would you need an e-bike there? It's so flat. But I'll tell you, yesterday, I think we cracked out 4,000 feet of elevation over the course of 30 or 35 miles. And it's just all this up and down, really great, like short track style riding that you're going to get the vert in if you put the work in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. And when it comes to riding trails out here, like, what has been the trail that's kind of caught your eye, Kim?
So there's actually so many trails I haven't gotten to check out around here. Like, I've just like scratched the surface of the trails here.
Wow.
What's on your list of what you want to hit?
I can't even, like, just everything. I really want to try everything.
Right.
Some of the green trails are wild here.
Yes.
Oh, do you want to talk about
Wild.
your green trail experience?
My Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Oh, are we talking about We talking about
K Church over here got a little intimate with one of the trees on a green
okay,
trail.
dog,
So
tell.
hear me out. After hours, Kim texts me. She's like, I crashed in front of Mark on a green trail. And I was like, I'm going to stop you right there. I know exactly what trail you crashed on. And she's like, yeah, Family Flow. And I'm like, okay, first off, Family Flow is the best green trail in the world.
So good.
Yeah,
And
unbelievable.
it's also a little deadly if you send it too hard.
Well, I just really wanted to thank Mother Nature. I just really needed to get in one and thank her for this beautiful landscape that we have for riding. I just thought it was very important to, show my love and appreciation. So I gave a tree a hug.
Yeah.
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 And I mean, you got it on footage.
Yeah.
So, and you walked away from it. But
Yeah.
it was
And the bike,
hilarious.
The bike was fine.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's the most important part.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're pinned to the tree and you're like, is my bike okay?
Yes.
Oh, God, is the handlebars all right?
It was so loud. It was so loud when she hit the tree and hugged it. I was like, oh my God, are you okay? And she's like, is the bike okay? And then the next thing she said to me after I said it was okay, she goes, torque to spec.
Torque to spec.
Jameis makes real good bikes, yo.
I hate you because I never torque my stuff to spec. Dude, because I feel like a couple months ago when I was out in Utah, I was like, we're free riders. Of course we torque our bikes to spec.
I know.
My handlebars are backwards. Yeah.
I
Torque to my spec.
Loved that. That was so
Yeah,
good.
you're like,
Chef's
yeah,
kiss.
that's on brand.
Yeah.
That's on brand.
Yeah, that's
So
my girl.
funny.
That's my girl.
Oh.
Meanwhile, I'm out there.
Yeah, you and Sam would get along. You and my husband would get along very well.
Yeah, torque to spec. The most epic second sentence after a crash.
Seriously. I'm more like, if I die, you can have my PlayStation.
Right? The bank account numbers are over
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
She's like, torque to spec. So speaking of Jameis bikes, well, actually, maybe we can unfold that crash just a little bit more because there was a lot of things going on in the final moments of that crash. She did.
I almost crashed again.
No,
This is
that crash.
This is so. Wait, I just want to pause, right? Because this is such a unique moment where not only did we crash on the green trail, major jabroni move. Let's be real, right? But we could laugh about it. You had the one and only Mark Hill filming you,
Oh,
so we have multiple angles.
Yeah.
Probably
God.
ridiculous commentary of you. So like, we got this in 4K.
Oh yeah.
So everybody needs to go back to
There's-
Mark's Bentonville video and just check this
There
out.
will be POV, and then there will be
it's
Mark
perfect.
behind me.
So-
Yeah. I did offer the delete,
get
though.
all the angles.
I
Nah.
said,
No,
you need
no,
him
no,
to
no,
delete.
no.
Okay, we're keeping this.
No,
This is going in the
Absolutely
video.
not.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
you show that. I wear
queen
that with
must
pride.
fall.
The queen must fall. Actually,
with the queen.
so there was a little bit of a debate. One of the guys that we were riding with, Owen, says it's a crash, but she never really fell down.
So I
So-
stayed
Crash.
upright.
Yeah.
I don't count it as a crash.
Freight crash.
Like I stayed on my bike. I
Yeah.
hugged a tree.
Right.
Which there's actually a lot of skill involved in that. To be able to like bail off of a bike and not fall is actually quite skillful.
It is.
So
Very skillful.
I've done the Running Man multiple
I mean,
times.
I go major potato sack mode and just hit the ground. But
Just tuck and roll.
I ragdoll enough that I actually can crash quite
you
well. But
ragdoll.
I need to learn the
tuck and-
run out for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've had multiple runouts, multiple tuck and rolls. Yeah. We can go practice tumbling. Outside later.
Yeah, we got airbags right outside
I'm
the
more
studio.
of like a field. I like practicing in the field. Just might as well like poorly hit a jump and then just crash and see how it goes. Yeah.
She did that on purpose.
Yeah, I saw where that was
So-
going.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that next footy that we're gonna see, that's Amanda practicing.
There's a little. There's plenty of footy of me crashing for sure.
So Kim takes off of this tabletop and throws a steezy little whip, but she lands super close to the rider in front. This is the scenario. Does she run into the rider in front? Does she kick off to the left? So she kicks off to the left, and now you could lay your bike down because there's a tree there. But if you go to the left of the tree, there's a pit that goes even further down and steep. So you don't want to tumble into that. You don't know what's there. Ticks, everything else, right? She could slide it out and like wrap her bike around a tree, or she could just take it head on, lock it up, and go
I was
straight.
just like lock it up and hope for the best.
I mean, I would have went for the pit because like it might have been really cool, and you could have ripped down the pit and just screamed "free ride," and it might have been rad.
So I knew like if I go left, I'm
ride.
going down, and I'm like, I got enough scars on my legs. Like
I need a scar on my arm.
I need a scar on my arm.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's free tattoos.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
had the party at the YT Mill last night.
Yes.
They
Oh,
were-
did you get one?
No.
Oh.
I'm very disappointed though.
Oh.
I'm gonna go back and see if I can get a rain check. But my
Really?
point is, it's like you get free tattoos if you mountain bike, and you can just decide where you want your scars to go.
Yeah.
And every little scar has a story.
So many stories. Like, I can
Oh.
literally point out and tell you, like, what trip that was on, what trail that was on, what stupid thing I did to get that one.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Saves a lot of money, and then you could put all that money saved on tattoos to more bike components.
Let's talk about the scars. Okay, what's the most interesting scar you have, and what's the story behind it? We'll start with obviously our guest, Kim.
I can't narrow it down. I have so many.
I mean, your tree story is funny, and that's
Yeah.
not going to be a lasting scar, but it's a silly little story.
I don't. This won't scar
What
at
about
all.
what's your most heinous crash that you've had?
Ooh.
If you care to share, if it's not
Oh
too
gosh,
gruesome.
it's the one I broke my teeth on.
Oh man.
Oh, I saw that picture. Yes.
Yeah, I broke. So where's some wood to knock on? That the only thing I've broken is teeth.
Seriously.
Right?
Seriously.
Yeah. No. I hate sand. Sand is my enemy.
But do not come visit me.
Sand is awful and the worst. Actually, my 2 worst scars are resulting from sand.
Wow.
No,
Ooh.
so starting in Moab, gonna do like Porcupine Rim, starting on Kokopelli. It's, a Jeep trail that you start off on, and like we're just like hauling,
Yeah.
and there's no pre-riding. We're just like send it.
You shuttle up and you go down.
And I just like something in my head went like, maybe you should bleed off a little bit of speed, like maybe just a little bit. You don't really know what's ahead of you.
Wait, is this your first time riding the enchilada then
Yeah.
too? Perfect.
Wow.
As soon as I finished that thought, I hit a tire rut filled with sand.
Oh, man.
Oh, camouflage rut.
And it just grabbed those tires, knocked me down. So I was still straddling the bike. Handlebars went to my left side. Superman sliding with the bike between my legs.
Oh.
And then just bashed my chin to stop.
Did you get knocked out?
Jeez.
No.
That's amazing.
But I laid there and I
Right.
was like, oh, and I'm feeling the grit in my teeth. And I'm like, please don't be broken teeth. Please don't be broken teeth.
Seriously.
And it was broken teeth.
Oh.
And like my dad was with me. He was like way ahead. And I was like, oh, they're never going to know that I crashed. So I just need to pick myself up.
Please help me. God, I can't.
Get out my first aid kit.
I'm
start,
missing my teeth.
covering up the stuff. And eventually, like, they came back around because they realized, like, oh, she's not here
Oh,
yet.
man.
And it was funny because, they're looking at over everything and they're like, how's your chin? I'm like, my chin's fine. Like, why? And it was my dad and my friend. They both looked at each other, looked at me, looked at each other, and they said, no reason. My chin was like
Now-
so out to here.
Those are
Oh,
incredible
man.
riding partners.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so
keep you calm.
I want to talk about that because there's been some bad accidents that I've been a part of where I have been involved, like I've been the victim, and I do not appreciate more a friend
Yeah.
who's like, yeah, dude, like you're fine. Maybe we should go get you to a doctor.
Keep it
And they're not
calm.
just like, oh, bro, that's so gnarly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like you can't say that. And it's funny because I had a really bad surfing accident where I like sliced some fins across both my legs and my knee bone was sticking out.
Whoa.
And I like flipped and I was like in the water and I came up and I was like, man, my leg kind of hurts. I'm going to go paddle in.
San Onofre?
No, this
Oh.
was in Costa Rica.
Oh.
And
dang.
I'm like, I'm going to go paddle in. And I got up and I'm like, just kind of looking at the sky because I'm like, my knee hurts pretty bad. And I sat down on this log and I just remember I kind of sat down and I was looking at the sky and I was like slowly looking at the horizon, looking at the ocean and then the beach. And there's a trail of blood coming up the beach towards me. And it's this
Whoa.
bright red leg. And the blood trail ends at this shiny white knee bone.
Ooh.
And I'm like, this is my bone sticking out.
Whoa.
And one of my friends, she was so good because she was really bad with blood, but she was like, girl, we need to get you like stitched up ASAP. And she helped me back to like a doctor and we got myself all patched up and I was able to go surfing the next day. But I just
What?
remember seeing that and like she did exactly
Yeah.
that where she's like, yo, like I think you're gonna be good, but we just got to go get you stitched up.
Yep.
And she was so chill. And I was like, I appreciate her so much for that because it could have been a freak out moment for sure.
Oh yeah, it sounded
Yeah.
like you were even being a little queasy. Like, just did you feel like the blood loss? Were you feeling a little weak and faint?
I don't know, because it's interesting. Like when you get an injury like that in the salt water, like it kind of like instantaneously cleans it out, and I think like your nerves don't really process. Because this is a really clean cut. Like the fins, like if you look at a surfboard, like the bottom and the back of it, there's 3 fins that kind of help you direct yourself in the water, and somehow they managed to flip over and kind of slice through me. So it's a pretty clean slice. It wasn't like hitting coral or anything.
Yeah.
So it didn't really hurt that much. But yeah, like your dad was on to be like, you're fine. Like, we'll just maybe go get you to a
Is
medical
your chin
center.
all right? I'm like, yeah, my chin's fine. Why?
That's crazy.
Like,
Yeah.
no reason.
Shout
It
out.
wasn't until probably like an hour later. Because this is the other thing. Like, we had just dropped in.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no cell service. It's like, you got to keep going.
Oh,
so
man.
bike was all right. I'm like, nothing's broken. Like,
Not to
let's
mention, you
just
can't
go.
really bail off of the
No.
enchilada either.
No, it's just we had to keep going, and
Yeah.
about an hour later, I stopped and I got my phone out and I took a selfie, and I was like, "Yo, that's why you asked me about my chin."
They're like, I am not that cute right now.
I was like, yeah, it was definitely not that cute. No, it
Dang.
was a mighty chin.
That's
Oh
a
my
beefy
goodness.
It was
one.
very like when you go get the caricatures, right?
Yes,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
You just have the huge, the huge
Oh, yeah.
cleft chin.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
That's
it was-
amazing. Okay, so the whole enchilada. I'm going to ask you a pretty inflammatory question,
Uh-oh.
perhaps.
Okay.
Here we go.
Well, I haven't done the full, just from Cocapelli to the rim.
Good to know. Good to know on that. I'm going to say it. The whole enchilada for me
Mm-hmm.
is a terribly overrated trail because, to Kim's point, a lot of it's fire road. There's some cool single track. There's a couple cool photo finish moves on it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is single track, and there's actually quite a bit of climbing on some of that fire road as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, yeah.
And so I rode the whole enchilada, and granted, I've done it once. And I was like, that was all right. Porcupine Rim was okay, but I think it's a terribly overrated trail for how much
Interesting.
people hype it up. So my question for you, of these like showstopper beauty queen trails that you've been on, what's one that you have been so severely underwhelmed about, where everyone's like, you gotta hit this, it's so sick, and then you ride it and you're like, I don't see the allure?
Okay, I actually have this because, so for those who don't know, I've been to Moab like 8 times probably, and my favorite was always Bull Run. So like the Gemini Bridges, Bull Run, I'm like, this is my trail, this is my jam. And I was so excited because I hadn't been to Moab since like 2018, and I'm out with Amanda, and I'm out with little Lawton, and we're doing Bull Run, and I'm just like, wait a minute, huh?
Really?
Huh.
So this is
Yeah.
interesting
That
because
was
you
it?
used to love Bull Run.
Used to love it,
And then
yeah.
is this me and Lawton's fault?
I think it's actually
So-
yeah,
yes.
yeah, a little bit. No,
Is it?
I think some of it is started getting better. You know, I've been riding more, been pushing myself more. I finally, like 2 years ago, I was like, all right, I want to get better. I want to start doing drops. I want to start doing jumps. Like, I want to just go wild and nuts.
Yeah.
And so Bull Run, what used to be techie for me, was suddenly like not so techie
Now that is
anymore.
interesting because I very much so enjoyed Bull Run. This is the first time I've ridden that track, and we were pushing pretty hard on it, I think, because we wanted to just see like where's the flow, like let's do this quickly, and I actually quite enjoyed it. Would I go back and ride it immediately? Probably not, but I had a lot of fun on that. So
Yeah.
that's interesting that you loved it as a beginner and then you almost outgrew it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Interesting.
kind
That
of
is
like,
interesting.
I'm like, I swear this was like,
This used to be
I
cooler.
thought this was gnarlier. Like, I thought there was like a lot more to it.
Right.
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay, so you
so-
were like, I thought this was hard. It's actually not that hard. It's a little overrated. Oh no, we're
Not overrated. Like, it's still a fun trail, but like my last memory of it was like being like
Yeah.
way more fun.
This is a bummer. We're throwing a lot of shade at Moab right now, sitting in the mountain bike capital of the world.
I mean, I still like my heart
So,
still belongs to Moab.
Mark,
Yeah.
what's your overrated trail?
I mean, thinking about what Kim just said, in trails that used to be scary, and as your skills progress, they're kind of like not as scary as you remember them. I would say there was a trail that used to scare the hell out of me at Greer. It was called Double D.
Double D.
And it was the warm-up trail, and it had this like it was the warm-up trail. It had this crazy like rock garden entrance that
Yeah.
was a squirrel catcher, and if you could do that, you could do the rest of the trail. And the first time I went out there, I was like brand new to mountain biking, and they were like, "That's where you want to start." And I remember looking at that rock garden.
So gnarly, right?
I was like, "This is where you start? Like they're trying to kill me." And I did it, but I looked at it, I walked it, I asked a ton of questions about it, and I finally did it. I'm like, okay, that was legit. That was scary. I'm a mountain biker now.
So are you the type to very like analyze the trail and analyze features before you hit them then?
It honestly depends. If I'm by myself, I do
Yeah.
do that. But if I'm with a squad of riders that I trust,
Yeah.
I'll follow them in, and I'll just trust.
Interesting.
Unless they tell me like, you do not want to follow me down
Yeah.
this one, then I'm like, okay, I trust that too.
Yeah, it means a lot to have a good riding partner or riding squad who's like, hey, I know how you ride, you know how I ride, and we trust each other.
Yeah.
That's a huge path to progression.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or then you crash on something, and your friend in front of you goes, dude, you crashed on that?
Yeah,
You're like,
what are you doing, man?
I did. I'm hurting. Give me a second.
Yeah, it's interesting thinking about trails that like used to be hard and then are just like kind of laughable. Because so I started mountain biking about 8 years ago, but I really did what you did. How it's like I've been riding for a really long time, but it was like time for me to dial it up. It's like, all right, I want to get better at this. And we used to live very close to Bentonville. So we came down here when it was starting to blossom as the mountain bike capital of the world.
Like at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Whoa.
And so we rode Jesse's Last Stand together yesterday.
Love that one.
One of my favorite tracks.
Yes.
And it still is.
Yes.
And I rode it yesterday, and there's a little baby step up at the very end of that.
Yes.
And when I was at the top of Jesse's Last Stand, I was like, man, like that step up's pretty hard to clear. And we rode it, and I just overshot the crap out of that step up. And I was
Right
like,
into the corner.
I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, this is a lot smaller than I remember.
Yeah.
So it's kind
Yeah.
of funny, like in your mind, like that bull run moment where it's like, man, I thought this was way gnarlier, and then you kind of just flow through it. And
Like,
you're like,
it felt more challenging the last time I did it in 2018, and then doing it in 2023. I'm like, huh.
yeah.
Right.
And then it's also like this proud moment
You're like,
too,
oh,
because you're
I
like,
actually am getting
hey,
better.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then
That's
also,
awesome.
to be fair, your skills went up, but you probably returned on a different bike. You were maybe not on the Jameis bike. Were you on a pivot then, and then you returned on the Jameis?
Yeah, I would have been on I'm pretty sure I was on. No, I was on an Intense.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was on
27.5?
Mm-hmm.
So-
27.5 is my jam.
So fun fact, Kim and I are a dying breed. We are 27.5 gang for life.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
Sick.
had a brief stint on a 29er. I tried
like
mullet. I tried mullet for a second.
Yeah.
27.5 is my jam, and
You
it's
liking
so
it?
funny because I ride a large frame, and everyone's like, "What size bike is that?" And I'm like, "It's a large. It's just got smaller wheels." And everyone's like, "Oh." They always kind of look at my bikes weird, but yeah, like it's interesting because I really hope 27.5 never dies.
I know. So going back to like Outer Bike, I'll talk about Outer Bike all the time.
Yeah.
Love Outer Bike. Big shout out to Outer Bike. But yeah, over in Killington, Killington Outer Bike last July. It's where I met little Lawton. But like I'm going around, I'm like 27.5, 27.5, and everyone's like, nope. And then Jameis had 27.5, and I was like, sweet, let me get on this bike, and I was just blown away. Yeah, absolutely blown away. The Hardline is such an awesome bike. Yeah, I had demoed a couple other bikes, and holy moly,
and
I was so happy. I was just kept like shouting. I'm like, this is so much better. It's so much better.
And that's the thing, like when you find a proper 27.5, because if you think about it, a lot of downhill bikes and a lot of like free ride dual crown bikes are still on a 27.5 platform.
Yeah.
So if you can rip those bikes really fast, they work through tech very well, and they corner so well. And everyone's like, man, you're so tall, you should get on a 29er. And it's like, I've done it, and I will probably eventually move to a 29er, inevitably, right? Because that's where most of the bikes are. Yeah. But I'm just going to stay on a 27.5 for as long as I can, because that's a platform that I really appreciate.
Yeah. That's what I look for. I really hope that they don't die out, because sure, the 29er helps me on some climbs. Yeah. I can get over those routes. Sometimes, I don't have the energy to pop and get over on my 27.5, but I'll take that over the like not feeling as playful.
Agreed.
On the downhill.
Agreed. That's what I was going to ask, is what is the allure to the 27.5 for you girls?
Playful.
It's playful. Yeah. It's really easy to rip around corners, and it's a little bit easier to move around in the air too, which granted, you're splitting hairs with 1.5 inches, right?
Yeah. That's like with suspension
but
too,
also,
but it makes a difference.
I'm a little smaller.
Yeah.
I'm shorter.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of girls that are even shorter than me on these 29-inch bikes, and I'm just like,
it's like a small, it's
comical.
It's like a small frame 29er wheels. I'm like, this is it's a clown
you can barely
bike.
have standover. Like
yes.
It's just, I don't understand how they do it.
Yeah, I know.
I feel, I'm 5'5.5", round up.
You're that
5'6".
short?
I'm that little.
Holy cow!
I'm a little lady.
How have I not noticed that? I'm giant.
Yeah,
I get.
A little,
oh man,
thing.
Kim's got a big personality.
Everyone's
so
tiny to me
Yeah.
though. You're like exceptionally tiny.
It's just a little thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's that's perfect for
I'm gonna
me.
hit my head on the door out of here.
You will. I can't even reach the top of it.
My head. My forehead has a dent in it from hitting all the doors.
Ow, my head.
I think I'm a little stupider because of it.
That's the reason.
It's big brain time.
So with your height difference, are you guys on the same type of Jameis bike or two different Jameis bikes?
Same bike.
Same bike.
Same bike, yeah.
Okay.
Just different frame
Just
size.
a medium
I
and
think
a
you're
large.
medium and I'm a large, right? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
What's the build out on your bike? What is? Tell the folks what you guys are on.
Man, you know what? I'm running Fox Factory right now. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit more of a RockShox person.
Okay.
And this is because I hate fapping around with my suspension. And I think a
clicks
lot of
and
people
dials.
with like the 38 Factory love all the dials and things like that. And granted, like if you look at a Zeb Ultimate, it has the same type of stuff.
Okay.
But I feel like Zeb is a very good like set it, forget it type of thing. Same with like a Super Deluxe. I was on an X2 for a little bit too on the back of my bike, and I'm definitely an air shock person over a spring.
Oh, yeah.
Which I was pressured into wanting to do a spring because everyone's like, yo, free ride, you know, big jumps. People love springs.
But
And
you love the pop of
I
the
rode
air
it for a
still.
little bit, and I like that really like fast ramp up of
Yeah.
of a air shock.
That makes sense.
Really love my Super Deluxe on factory fork right now, but I'm looking to actually switch over to a Zeb, and then group set for me is SRAM all the way. Like,
Okay.
and I'm still on a mechanical group set too. Like, I don't have transmission or anything like that, but the responsiveness
No
of
battery.
SRAM
Shram.
is definitely. I'm a fangirl of SRAM. I don't know about you.
Yeah. How about you, Kim?
My hardline came with Shimano,
Oof.
and I'm still rocking the Shimano.
Okay.
And prior to the hardline, though, I had just like 6 months previously bought a Pivot Shadowcat.
That's a sick bike.
Yeah. I like the hardline better.
Okay.
Um,
Shadowcat's a little smaller, right?
so I actually think I should have sized down. I went with the medium, but it's got more of a reach.
It's a long bike.
Yeah.
It's a long bike. Yeah.
So I probably should have sized down.
Yeah.
But I've also, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced it, but like so many times I've gone to like demo events and people try to put me on a small frame, and I'm like, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Just
no,
automatically.
you're small. I'm like, no, I feel like the cockpit is just too small. I feel like I'm going to go right
Yeah.
over the handlebars.
So that's
Yeah.
actually really
Yeah.
interesting. Like for me, like one of the biggest things I look at with a bike is like, what is that effective top tube length? So I have a pretty long torso.
Yeah.
And having that
Yeah.
longer top tube for me is good. So like sometimes people are like, oh, for like your free ride bike, you should get a medium. And I'm like, no way. Like I'm at the upper end of large.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I definitely want that bigger bike. But it's interesting because those demo events I think are very valuable because you
Right.
you look at the numbers and you're like, I think this bike is going to be good for me, but you don't really know until you get on them.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not till after you probably have like 5 or 6 bikes that you're like, okay, like
This is
I'm
the
concerned
difference.
about the
Yeah.
head tube angle. I'm concerned about the top tube length. I'm concerned about the chainstay. And that has taken me years to figure out. And there's so many people who are out there who I feel like really know exactly what they want. It's taken me like 7 years to figure out what that like nice geometry is for my body.
Wow.
It's hard. I
That-
mean, how
that
else are
is
you going to
hard.
get on bikes, you know?
I mean, that's probably difficult, but you can fast forward that if you go to these demo events like
Yeah.
Outer Bike. It sounds like you have access
I
to
had,
multiple
I had
bikes.
someone, they wouldn't let me take a medium. They're like, no, you're small. You're small.
Please,
And
please
I'm like,
explain
Whoa.
to me how
I'm like,
I'm on the wrong
okay.
freaking
So I
side.
took it out and just did, some of the brand trail. I hit something kind of steep, and I thought I was bucking over the bars.
You're like, I'm on a Matchbox. Please get me.
Yeah, and when I returned
Right?
it
Where's
was
the
a
wind up
different,
here?
Yeah, it was a different person that had checked me out. That was taking it back in, and he's like, how'd you like it? I'm like, I hated it. I'm like, the guy made me take a small. I was like, I felt so cramped. I thought I was going over the bars. Like, I'm just like, take it back. And he's like, take out a medium. I was like, no, like, I'm done. He's like,
Yeah.
no. He's like, please take out a medium.
So
Took
that
the
is
medium out, and it was just a world of a difference.
Yeah.
Like, all that confidence is back. I felt like super secure on the bike.
Yes.
Oh,
Like,
what a difference.
Yes. How interesting
Yeah.
is that too, though? Having mountain biking, let's be real.
Sure.
The mountain bike industry probably doesn't make a lot of money for these big brands who are in the road, the gravel space, right? That's where the big money is.
Mhm.
I think a big part of wanting to buy a bike or be affiliated with a brand is what that first experience is. And being like, are these people giving me the time of day?
Yeah.
Are they listening to
100%.
me?
Yeah.
And like especially too, like it's like, oh, this cute girl is showing up, and it's like, let me tell you what size bike you need to be
Yeah.
on and how you need to be riding this bike. And it's like, hey, like
Oof.
Kim's been riding bikes for almost over a decade.
Yeah.
countless
And it's like,
times I go and I'm like, I want a
know.
medium, and they're like, no, you're a small. And I'm like,
and it's like, that just,
please give me a medium.
that just turns me off. It's like, I don't want to be a part of this. Like, you guys aren't even going to listen to me and what I'm interested in. And so it's funny, like, I think, and a lot of brands are doing such a good job of like connecting with their customers and the people who they are, value. And like, seeing people like that who are like, no, I'm going to tell you what you need. It's like,
and the way they approach it too, it's never in a like, hey, like, I really think maybe you should try the small. Like, it might feel better for you. It's always in this condescending way of, you don't know any better.
Exactly.
You need this size.
Yes.
Like, and they don't listen when I say, like, no, like, I've tried smalls before. I feel, like, really, like, stuck in the cockpit. I feel like I'm going to, like, and they just, like, they're like, nope. They're just, like, completely dismissive.
For sure.
And it's just, like, but then it's well known that, like, downhill, large out, like you're more stable on the bigger. If you want to get playful and whippy, size down.
Absolutely.
So it's like, why all of this, like,
and it's like, did you ask me what kind of riding?
What kind of riding?
Nobody asked what my riding style was. Like, no, it was just like, you're 5'5", you're a small. And I'm like, okay, but I'm a 31-inch inseam, and I got a long torso,
and it's like, what you're telling me is your bike is not for the rider. Like, your bike is for, I don't even know what it's for.
That is like, you can't put a height on a frame.
That
just doesn't work that way.
That embodies the compliment of, you are such a good rider for a girl.
Oh, God.
Like, put me in a grave the next time someone says that to me.
Or how about, like, you're with a group of guys, and then, like, one of, like, they're eyeing up a feature, right? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And someone, like, points to you and, like, well, she can do it. So if she can do it, you can do it.
Exactly.
That's a backhander.
Whoa.
That's a backhander.
And it's like, that was the most backwards compliment. That was a huge diss.
I was like,
funny.
What?
I know.
That is crazy. No, I'm glad you guys are talking about this for all the other female mountain bikers out there that kind of deal with this kind of crap.
Yeah, it was actually really interesting today, and it was such a, it was warm, and a lot of these people put it out as compliments. They're like, you're a good rider, and they can't help but say, like, man, like, you're such a crazy female shredder. And it's like, well, no, it's like, I'm just a shredder. It doesn't have to mean anything. And it was funny. So a guy actually said that to me today. We were out at Huntley. We were riding Air Raid, which is the black jump line over in Bella Vista.
By the way, did that branch mess with you the second to last jump?
My visor hit it.
Your visor hit it.
Yeah.
I brake checked because I was like,
my visor hit it, and I was like, I did not pop that one anymore because it was freaking me out. It was interesting. So someone actually made that comment to me today at Huntley, and I realized it's obviously means well. And I made a comment to him, and he's like, man, there's so many, like, crazy lady shredders here. And I'm like, you got to realize that this is one of the nation's largest bike festivals right now. I'm like, there's a lot of really talented riders coming in here. So you're going to see a lot of really good riders out here. Men, women, kids. And so I was like, check yourself, buddy, because, like, we're running circles around you, and there's plenty of guys running circles around you, too.
On the flip, though, it can be said as a compliment. So we were doing a train down Drop the Hammer, and somebody was yelling out, like, yeah, nice job, guys. And I was, like, coming up in third spot, and he's like, and lady.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. I remember. I was in that train. I heard that.
So it's like that kind of stuff. It's like, that's cool. That's cool. I was like, I'm a dude, you're a dude, we're all.
I was like, everyone normalize screaming Yas Queen as we're hitting a trail. Like, for sure. Queen.
Get it, girl.
The biggest beard. Yes, queen.
Oh, gosh. That just reminded me of that guy that yelled at us when we were starting Bull Run. Do you remember that in Moab?
No.
It was... You definitely remember. Like, it was...
Like, yelling to stop you guys?
So, we're on a two-way. But let's be real. It should have been a one-way.
It was
he was like... uphill riders have the right of way. And we were in a flat spot. It was flat.
That is flat.
Oh, geez.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
That is so tough. And I was actually chatting with someone about that today, how I was like, because you do that little, like, there's like a concrete highway that gets you up to, like, the hub at Kohler.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a couple guys coming down it, and I was like, hey, I got a group of like 8, and we're gonna be coming up. And one guy, like, wasn't really stopping, and I was like, hey, like, we do have right of way. I'm like, we are going up this concrete highway. Like, there's no reason you'd want to go down this. And I was like, it's kind of a bummer that on those kind of, like, flowy up and down trails, you have to use your discretion on being like, who should have the right of way. And it's horrible because everybody's discretion's different. I hate those situations, but, like, you can't get mad at someone when it's like, yo, like, this is also, like, everybody's kind of up and down on this. Like, don't yell at me. Like, just let's try to all be courteous with each other.
And since you don't remember, it was...
It's probably
where I was going, it was like, I had, like, if I was to stop, I was going down a cliff.
Oh.
So I'm like, I I'm pretty, first off, it's flat. You're not climbing, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, I can't stop, dude.
Yeah.
Like, do you want me to just launch off the side
Kim's
of the cliff
like,
for you?
move, bitch.
Yeah.
I know.
Get out the way. Get out the way.
But it was just said in such a rude way, too, and it was just like, come on.
It's like,
Yeah.
can we all just take a moment and pause and realize
Yeah.
we're on $12,000 bikes in one of the most beautiful mountain biking destinations in the world of
Right.
Moab.
Right.
It's a beautiful day. We're with our friends, and you're grumpy?
Yeah.
I
I
was
think I'd
like, how
bring
are
it.
you at work?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
for real, dude. I was
When
like,
they are
we
stressed.
can't hate right now. Like,
Yeah.
everything's good.
I know. I was climbing up to the hub yesterday, and I passed a guy. I mean, politely, because I'm on my decoy, and I was slowly passing on the left, and he goes, "Have fun on that moped."
Oh my gosh. You're like, thanks, babe, I will.
Yeah, I'm like, wish you had one of these. You want to switch?
For real.
But that's
What's
like the
up?
wild thing of, like, you're almost in the minority to say that out here.
Okay, also,
Oh, good point.
Also,
True.
e-bike bashing jokes were like so 2021.
Yeah.
Like, we're past it. It's not funny anymore. Like, you're just jealous.
Yeah.
Like, go get an e-bike if you
100%.
want one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all support the e-bike.
Yeah.
Come on.
They're
They're
available.
so great.
So, Jameis offerings, what kind of bike offerings do they have?
What do they got going on nowadays?
So, obviously, I'm just on the mountain biking side.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know anything
Yeah.
else
Like,
about any kind of
I
biking.
know that,
that is fair.
the new Renegade gravel bike
There's a gravel bike out there.
is
Taken off.
wild,
Really?
insane
Yes.
specs. I don't know anything about gravel bikes, but go check it out if you're into them.
The Renegade.
but
The Renegade.
yeah, and then obviously I'm all full squish. You know, Jameis has, you know,
They do have a pretty sweet,
Yeah,
they have a pretty sweet
C5s.
aluminum hardtail
Mm-hmm.
that's got a pretty aggressive head tube angle.
Okay.
Which I love that. Like, any sort of like kind of nasty hardtail that's kind of
Yeah.
slack.
Yeah.
That takes a beastly type of person to ride that, but I
Right.
love that those are offered.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
like, doesn't like the Ragley also do like a really aggressive hardtail, which is like, there's a couple brands out there that keep that tradition alive as well.
Mhm.
Like, you talk about 27.5, like I feel like aggressive hardtails are a different beast. Whenever
Yeah.
you see a dude at a bike park on one of those, you're like,
Yeah.
that guy shreds.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So
Those
they-
all the right lines.
they got
sure.
lots and lots of options across the board. But like, if you want to talk like, I would say like the flagship mountain bikes
Yes.
is the Hardline 160, and the Portal. That's
130.
30.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the Portal's 29-inch, the Hardline's 27.5.
Nice.
And the 3VO suspension
Yeah,
is just wild.
They built it off a 3BO, so if you're familiar with Ministry Cycles, that's a very deep cut, small brand, and that guy designed and patented 3BO.
Oh,
And
cool.
Jameis is one of the few brands that took 3BO and ran with it on their frame, and that guy is really smart. He loves tinkering with bikes. I think he's building like a titanium, like his own Ministry branded bike right now.
Wow.
And I think he's leveraging an updated version of the 3BO.
How
So,
cool.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I like follow him on Instagram if you kind of want to learn a little bit about suspension design.
Yeah.
Um,
Ministry?
Yeah, because it's something that always confuses me, and I don't ever really understand, like, for example, like the stroke on a shock,
Yeah.
how it translates into the travel.
Okay.
And it depends on how many pivots you have on a bike, you know, what that suspension design just is in general.
Yeah.
Something that's always kind of confused me, so I do like him because he gives me little tidbits of education on
He
how that stuff works.
explains it really well.
Yeah.
Is that the one? I think I've come across that page, and the guy's very like engineer scientific
Yes.
when he explains things, and I'm lost in the first 20 seconds until I learn more.
Exactly. And so, like, I finally started following him, and I'm like, okay, if I get a minute of this, like, every day or every week, I'm like, I'm going to slowly learn more about
Yeah.
it. And so
Yeah.
it's been kind of cool
Yeah.
because, like, my husband's a big tech head, and he can explain to me about how all the different pivot designs work and how all the stroke works. And I'm listening to him, and I'm like, I love you so much, but I'm glazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, I need to see it in action. So
Yeah.
it takes me a minute to understand how the
I'm like,
rear travel works on a bike.
Reduces pedal bob.
Yeah.
That's all I
was
That's,
like,
I read like there's
does
a
the back
whole
end-
thing about it, and I'm like,
does the back end squish? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, you just- right?
Seriously.
If there's pressure on the pedal, does it
Yeah.
then stand up? And if you brake, does it squid?
Exactly. I mean, like, literally, that's kind of how it is sometimes too. And like, it's funny, right? Because like high pivots come out, and there's been a lot of different like ways that your rear tire can change its path.
Yeah.
And I think that's been really cool for like reducing getting hung up on stuff.
Yeah.
So I do like kind of studying that types of things. But I think I'm a fan of single pivot is what I've kind of learned. It's a little bit
interesting.
simpler,
Cool.
easier to take care of.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody loves changing bearings on their bike. So
Yeah,
the less
right.
bearings I have, the happier I am.
Yay! It's bearing changing day.
I was like, oh, time to absolutely hate my bike and just want to sell everything.
Right. I think I was on was it a text chain with Riding Dirty, you and I,
Okay.
Amanda, and you went in. You're like, "Oh, keep talking, guys. I'm gonna go put some." What was like? You're putting some inserts in your tire.
Yes.
And you were like 3 minutes later. You're like, "I'm back, bitches." I was all,
Yes.
"Oh, how?"
I
that
have
was
Popeye
fast.
forearms, and I have a pretty decent process at this point. But I'm just like, I am a strong, independent woman. I don't need anybody to help me change my DH casing tires.
Yeah, I know. That was amazing.
man.
That was so cool. I am fearful of putting inserts into my tires just because it looks so difficult.
It's it's horrible. And like, so I still run aluminum wheels. I think you're on aluminum wheels.
I am.
I have carbon wheels on my race bike, and here's another unpopular opinion. I'm not a huge fan of my carbon wheels.
Oh, do tell. Why?
They're very stiff, and I know a lot of people are like they're stiff, but they provide appropriate compliance where needed.
Yeah.
And I think it's possible there's a lot of different ways that carbon can be laid on a wheel, but the wheels that I have, they're pretty stiff, and so I really love like pushing in and out of corners, obviously. And with aluminum, you can feel that kind of compliance of the rear wheel pushing out of a corner.
Oh.
And in the carbon ones, it just feels so like ting ting ting,
Just
like
gonna
just
brap it.
off it.
Brap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do like, and I realize obviously an enduro bike is very different from like a small travel race bike. But also too, you go through like Chundermore, and a lot of carbon wheel companies actually recommend that you don't put inserts in, because it'll reduce the integrity of the lay pattern and make them less durable.
Interesting. I did not know that.
And interesting,
Wow.
I know. And interestingly enough, they recommend you not to do that. One of the things that I didn't realize about inserts is that they also do provide vibration dampening. So
That
we've been running a carbon.
Kind of makes sense.
We've been running a carbon wheel set at the park, and it's like my hands are killing me, and like you can feel the vibration coming through the rim.
Oh.
I know.
What
I know.
the
Obviously,
hey?
something that you'll get used to eventually.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I think I'm kind of a fan of the aluminum and the insert. I realize it's my status quo, and I'm like not super apt to changing it.
Yeah.
But it's just been interesting to feel that instantaneous feedback from carbon. I think a lot of people love that, but I'm like, can I just have like a softer aluminum rim with an insert? So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know if you've had experience on carbon.
I have not.
It's like a little too pricey.
Yeah,
for
I was.
me.
Sheen Queen is really not a queen. She's not that bougie.
Yeah, we're like a jester over here. I can't wrap my head.
We're
I
getting
can't.
economy.
I can't
In
wrap
this
my head.
economy?
In this economy?
economy?
Exactly. And it's like, oh,
What?
it's a lifetime warranty, and I'm like, but it's still $1,800.
Yeah,
Like,
it's. I mean, like, you know, my birthday's coming up. If anyone wants to treat,
I love you, but I don't love you that much.
Right?
At
I don't even love me that
MTBSheenQueen.
much.
I mean, like, here's a $20 gift card to We Are One. You only have $1,780 left to cover the bill.
a $10 gift card for me to Cane's. No, just kidding.
To Cane's.
$8 has been used already.
$8 for you.
You can
$8.80.
eat your sorrows away. Aluminum wheels.
And here's a pair of slightly used unspoken gloves.
Oh yeah, thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
There's a hole in the index finger where I pick my nose.
Just to keep it clean.
Not just a hole, like the actual, you know, the snot line.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I thought I had washed that out. I feel so embarrassed.
Mountain biking is so sexy.
It is, right?
Play into the dirt.
Yeah. Everybody's snot rocketing in front of you, and it's like, that's so
Great.
hot.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about the trails that we think are a little overrated in some cases. I have voiced my opinion on how carbon wheels are kind of expensive.
Mm-hmm.
For you, what do you think is one of the most like overrated pieces of mountain bike equipment that, again, people tend to swear by, but you're like, you know, I've been there, and it's either not worth the price or not worth the hype?
Wow, that's challenging.
I just got stumped. Like, I feel like I have to analyze this. I've got to, like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
This is not a quick answer.
It's kind of tough. So here's an example for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll give one too.
Kashima?
Oh, cool color.
What are our thoughts on Cash Money?
Love it.
It's cute.
Yes, please.
Is it slidier than your
Supposed to
standard
be.
anodization? Are you going to feel it, Mark?
Oh, God. At my skill level? Absolutely not.
Exactly. And
But
that's
I
like,
could pull up and get some street cred. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
you're like, oh, look at my glitz
Yeah,
and
look at
glam. But
me.
I'm just like, yeah, it's like, oh, it's smoother. I'm not good enough to feel that. And also, when's the last time I serviced my lowers? Like, we got a lot more problems than if this Cash Money is going to make my fork slide well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of those examples. I'm
Okay.
like, Cash Money, it's cute. Color's cute. I don't know if it's worth that extra money.
Yeah, interesting.
What about you, Mark?
Well, Well, I've been kind of like playing around with the thought of different saddles.
Oh.
Like does an expensive saddle make your bum feel better? Your sit bones? Are you more comfortable? Can you ride longer? Or is it hype? I don't know. And it's so hard to change them out because
they're expensive.
They're expensive, right?
Scary to just like try out a new saddle because I think they can get up to like $300.
Yeah, and then
you get the carbon rails and stuff.
Right? You get one that's creaking all the time. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, what the hell? I was better off on the other one.
Have you seen they're doing like custom 3D printed ones to fit your butt too?
What?
I'm like, first of all, am I just sending you booty pics?
Sit bones. It's got to be.
And you're like,
you booty. I'm sure it's not like
is
that.
this a pyramid scheme and I'm actually just sending you booty pics? Or are you actually designing this for my booty?
Yes.
Interesting.
Your great cousin.
Smart businessman. Everyone gets their rashed up booty over to this guy and they figure it out.
They're printing money.
Exactly.
Hand over fist.
All right. So the saddles, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I'm on like a WTB Diva, which is like a $40 saddle.
Yeah.
Is great.
Right.
Like, I sit on it. It does the thing, and I call it good.
Right. But then there's this intrigue. Like, would the $300 saddle actually feel so much better on that last lap of the day? Would I be like, that was money well spent for my booty?
Yeah, I don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
Ignorance is bliss for me, and I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay ignorant to that one. Like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna bust out $300 for a saddle.
Right. That's a hard thing.
Yeah.
To
I'm on
know.
a sub $100 like Ergon women specific
Yeah.
saddle, and I was like, oh yeah,
Is that a
they
good
know
one?
what they're doing. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Stock saddle, like immediately
But
gone.
it's not
Ergon
a
women's.
$300 saddle.
No.
though. It's affordable.
No.
Yeah.
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 It's like, do you need the $1 zillion one? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say no.
I mean, yes. Like, what do you think in expensive parts? I mean, because come on,
Like-
mountain bike, we love spending money.
Yeah.
Our bikes can get
I know.
expensive.
Oh God.
I know.
What about grips?
It
Like,
could be clothes, shoes.
yeah.
Well,
Anything.
yeah. I mean, oh God. I mean, come on, the clothes. You know, I have to have it
clothes are-
all.
You dress to the nines. Here I am in a cotton Dickies workwear onesie.
Girl, you look fire.
You know
though.
what's funny? I've gotten
Like
I got
fire.
so many compliments on this. It's so funny. So the women's ride we did today, everyone's like, dude, your onesie's so sick. Where'd you get it? And I was like, I'm just going to stop you right there. It's full cotton. I'm soaking wet already.
Oh, yeah.
I have no zippered pockets. And I said, my most expensive liability that I carried today was a pack of 70-calorie fruit snacks. Because if I lost them, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And I'm like, there's no phone in here.
Yeah.
There's no anything in here. And so I was like, I'm doing it for the fashion. But this is not a functional mountain bike outfit at all. Mountain
Did
bike
it
clothes
breathe?
get no.
Super expensive.
This is cotton. There's no breathing.
No breathing
No.
in there.
I mean, there's like a zipper. I could feel the cotton fibers rubbing on my booty. It was horrible, but I look cute and I got a lot of compliments.
Yeah, you look good.
I mean, yeah, mountain bike clothes can get wild expensive.
That's
Yeah.
true.
They
That's
can,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bibs with like the integrated chamois. Those are expensive.
Yeah.
I was just
I
gonna
don't
say,
rock-
why are chamois so expensive?
I don't know.
Why
'cause
are they so expensive?
It's a glorified diaper.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why are they
Like,
so
should we
expensive?
be ripping around in Depends?
No.
Is this us
No.
cracking the code? No.
Yeah.
It could be.
It's a horrible
that's-
idea.
that's gonna
I
be
went
my
away from
answer.
chamois.
I don't wear chamois.
I don't wear them either.
I don't wear chamois.
It took a
I
minute.
know you don't wear chamois.
That's fair.
Oh, did someone get a
That's
trail rip? Is that how you know?
Oh, no,
Or-
no,
oh,
no, no,
Oh,
no.
conversations.
No, I mean,
to be told
Kim,
at another time.
So I'm gonna say it.
Oh no, here
I'm
it
a
goes.
little bit faster than riding bikes than Kim.
I
Oh,
mean, you don't
shot-
have to say it. It's known.
Shots
So
fired.
It's fact.
Kim tends to be behind me,
Yeah.
Oh, that's how.
and
Okay,
she
I,
sees my
I
intimate
see.
wear because all I do is wear crop tops and clapped out
Yeah.
pants.
Yeah. But there's also a reason why I want to be behind Amanda, because
She's got good lines.
I'm 30.
yeah.
I'm taking advantage of my youth.
yeah.
I mean,
Amanda looked good.
if you got it, flaunt it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I
yeah.
mean, you look fantastic too. So we joke, right? Mountain
Yeah.
biking. I'm like, oh, it's so sexy, but talk about like building a perfect body with it. Because if you mountain bike hard, your upper body gets exercised, your lower
Yeah.
body gets exercised, health as well.
health
and
as
if
well.
you have an e-bike, you're really getting upper body when you're loading that.
When you're loading it,
Loading and unloading.
get the roof rack.
oh,
Yeah, you're gonna
Oh.
be traps for days.
she'll get out.
No, wait a minute. Okay. Oh, okay. So the chamois are super expensive.
Yeah.
I think you have a terribly expensive bike rack.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
Like,
gosh.
can we talk
wait,
about
wait, two
how
of the
expensive
two
it
great
is to
bike
do
racks.
a bike rack?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
So I had an unfortunate incident where I broke my bike rack. So I took that as an opportunity instead of repairing it to say like, all right, I'm gonna jump on the one up
Standard mountain bike excuse. I'm not going to spend small amounts of money to replace it. I'm just going to buy an $1,100 new bike rack.
Well, I was like, mine can't carry an e-bike, and my dad's got an e-bike, and you can't like add extra trays. So instead of like spending a small amount to repair, like I might as well just bite the bullet and get the one that can carry the e-bikes.
Your logic is
expand.
unhinged.
This makes sense.
And
it doesn't take much in the bike world to make sense.
Hate that
yeah,
rack.
you can talk yourself into money real quick, right?
I hate that
Bike
rack.
racks are expensive because you're like, oh, I got this great mountain bike, and it's like, okay, wait, it's more expensive than my car. The bike rack is going to be also more expensive than my car, and like me, I can't say anything because I bought a whole van to put my bikes into and move around with the bike, so I can't even complain about that.
But on this, K-Church over here, she did not like the rack.
No, I ended up buying the replacement part for my Sherpa.
And
so now I have 2 racks.
And let's be real, the Co-op probably supports the e-bike with no issues.
It's like their smaller, lighter rack, so it's supposed to only go up to like 42 pounds per tray.
We're splitting hairs.
But yeah, I like that one a lot better.
Yeah, dude, that's funny. Yeah, I would agree that that's a very expensive accessory because you're like, cool, I got a mountain bike, I'm good to go, and it's like, oh wait, I need a $300 helmet, $180 shoes, $1,000 bike rack. Like, what a sport to get into.
It's such an easy one for the salesman. It's like, you've spent all this money and come all this way.
I know you have more money.
You're gonna chintz out on a $1,000 rack.
Exactly.
When you have a $12,000 bike.
You can't put your nice bike on this cheap rack. Yeah. Seriously, it's
like, well, I don't have. It's not that I don't want to.
Carbon
I just don't
frames.
have it.
We can't be putting it on those Allen.
So,
right? Touching my frame. Get it out of here.
What out? No.
Yeah.
We
God
don't
forbid we touch the carbon. Okay, so
rub.
You're from Michigan.
Yeah.
What's the vibe like in Michigan? Because let's be real. So Bentonville, mountain bike capital of the world. Everybody is dressed to the nines. The bikes are gorgeous. Everybody's gorgeous.
Like
the trails are gorgeous. It's a bike show. It's hard to come here and not be like, I need a new bike. I need new clothes. I need everything new. How's Michigan? Is it very keeping up with the Joneses, or everyone's just riding to have a good time?
So I'll preface by saying I'm Metro Detroit, so it's a lot different than UP, Copper Harbor, Marquette, or Northern Michigan. That has elevation, has some lift service stuff. It's more mountain bike focused.
Sure.
Where I'm at, it's very XC.
Yeah,
very Lycra. I was stopped taking a breather because like Amanda knows and said I'm not that good. But this guy stopped too, and he was looking. He's like, oh, Janus. He's like, I haven't seen those in a while. He's like, how much travel is that? I'm like, it's 160, 160.
That's a bike.
He's like, you don't need that here. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot, but like I don't just ride here. Like I travel all over.
Get fitter.
And he's like, that's way too much travel for here. You don't need that. That's too much for here.
Oh, thanks, sir. Sorry, I'll just go return this.
Officer?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I mean, it's still pedals, dude. Like,
you know best, stranger.
Yeah.
And I was explaining, like, I started all hyped up. I'm like, oh, well, like, I go to all these places. I go to Killington, Vermont. I go out to Moab. I go down to Bentonville. Like, I like lift service. Like, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Good
I'm
point.
like,
you especially.
And like 3 times he said it was way too much travel for where we were.
You can't get through to someone like that.
And I don't get it because I'm like, it's still pedals. It still goes up.
Yeah.
It still goes down.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, dude, like, ride what you got.
Right.
And also, too, like, if I don't want 6 bikes that's in a 10
Exactly.
millimeter variance every way up,
Right.
it's like, just give me one bike and let me ride it. So that's me. Like, personally, I don't like riding a lot of bikes. So right now I have 2 mountain bikes. And I kind of really struggle to go through them. And one of them is like a big enduro bike, and the other one's a very tiny race bike. So they're very different, right? Like, and I ride them very differently. But I don't love switching between the 2 of them because I'm like, everything's different. The head tube angle is different. Everything's different on the bike. And I'm not excited to get on them and kind of switch back and forth. So I prefer having one bike. How many bikes do you ride regularly?
I mean, it's just the hardline now.
Yeah.
It's just
That's
the
your
hardline.
go-to, yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I do have the Jameis Chromo dirt jumper as well. I just added that to my quiver.
That's nice, because there's a Raise is close to you, yeah?
It's close-ish.
Close-ish.
You know,
Nice.
it's a day trip.
That place looks sweet.
That
Oh,
does look sweet.
Women's Day next year.
Seriously.
Gotta
That
come out,
or
gotta
an
come out.
indoor foam pit session at like Woodward.
Oh.
Do they have a foam pit at
They
Ray's?
have a foam pit.
Okay, see,
They have
that's
a foam
sweet.
pit.
That's dope.
Because you were at Woodward a few weeks ago practicing
Yeah.
some tricks. Have you been able to take them to dirt this week?
This week I did. I got the 1-footer out.
That was sick. I got that on footage.
Yeah. And then tuck no-handers. I haven't thrown any of those yet. Just still getting comfy. But
the tucks are tough. You need a proper step up, I think, to get a good tuck. Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel like the one that would be the one I try it on is after the hammer. The step up after that, because it's kind of really puts you up there without a ton of effort.
And you stop. You land pretty slow. So if you fall, it wouldn't be detrimental.
It wouldn't be detrimental, and you fall into that little berm, so you
Yeah.
kind of like roll over it and laugh, and people would be like, "Oh, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But there are so many tricks that you can pull in the foam pit. I got your text, and I did try T-bogs and
Nice.
suies. I could not do suey.
I can't get my knees to clap onto the saddle when I suey.
Okay,
It's
so
like I'm always like, all right, put your knees out, then take your hands off. Like I feel like I'm
Yeah.
running through the laundry list of things you have to do. It's so difficult.
it's so crazy. I ended up dropping my saddle down about 3/4 of the way to the bottom,
yes,
like almost slammed.
You can't slam it though. It
Yeah,
has to be a little higher.
a little
than slam.
higher.
Yeah.
And then I could not figure out, and the Woodward folks there that know how to do it, they were trying to help me. Every time I would take my hand off the bar, I would somehow take it off crooked and
Would you
immediately
turn
turn
the
the bars in the air, and it's just like the most frightening thing. Like,
Wow.
holy shit!
Well, yeah, because at least the tuck, your hips are keeping the bars straight.
Correct. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what they said is like, ride, jump in the air, release your hand, and then go off to the side. And I think
Yeah.
I was trying to like do it all
slide
at
it
once.
off the end, yeah.
And something was catching.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was never the same direction, so I couldn't figure it out.
Just tighten your headset, smash your headset down so tight that the handlebars don't turn.
Just stay straight.
Guys, as long as I go completely straight, I will totally kill this trick.
Yeah. But one trick I wanted to learn that I failed on was T-bogs.
Really?
Even in the foam pit, it freaked me out to try to just like lean back.
Getting your hips back that far is very
Yes.
unnatural.
Yeah,
Yes.
because like even falling into the foam pit and having your bike in front of you as your downward arch.
Oh, then you just land on the bike. Yeah.
Yeah, right? With the flats, like ready to eat you up somewhere.
Oh, man.
Kind of scared me a bit.
Yeah, that's fair. That is
Yeah,
fair. Oh, my goodness.
But definitely was helpful in training for sure.
Yeah, I know. I think because I don't have an indoor place like that anywhere near me. My closest place is Woodward in either Park City or like Copper Mountain in Colorado, which are both like 8-9 hour drives.
That's far.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
far.
and it's like it's hard for me to justify going there just to mess around in a foam pit. So
Yeah, and that's hard work. You try getting out of a foam pit before?
I mean, no, but I can't imagine it'd be easy to drag a bike out of one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like quicksand.
Yeah,
and everyone's
seriously.
waiting, like everyone's chomping at the bit to drop in.
Oh,
and
this
you're
guy,
like,
this guy couldn't even
sorry.
do a suey, and now he can't
Yeah,
get out of the pit.
now he can't get out of the pit.
So
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Why is everyone snaking me on the drop in? What's going on around here? Have you been in a foam pit, Kim?
I have not. I have not foam pitted it up.
Oh, you got the DJ? You should
Yeah.
make it happen. You should make it happen.
Yeah. Well, remember when I was trying to, turn around on the DJ and
Yeah,
it
that
fell
was
over?
gracious.
Well, there was someone behind me doing, like backflips into the foam pit.
Perfect.
So.
Perfect. You're like,
Ellen.
yeah.
Shout out.
Happy to make you look better.
Yeah. So I'm not quite foam pit ready yet.
Yeah.
I probably couldn't even drop it.
She hurt herself in the foam pit.
I hurt myself.
She
like,
didn't
on a
even make
flat.
it.
I
Not even
know.
foam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talent. So I feel really blessed that the majority of my screw ups are like getting on and off the bike or really
Fair.
slow speed.
Yes.
If I'm gonna fall, I want it to be because I'm doing something
silly.
stupid,
Yeah.
like getting on or dismounting.
Yes.
But when I'm bombing down something, I do a fairly decent job of staying on the bike.
I think it makes sense though, right? Because when you're in game time and you're bombing down something, you're obviously focused.
Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
feel like a lot of times if you're just like dawdling around in a parking lot, you're maybe not thinking about it too much, so it's pretty actually easy to fall over in like those silly
yeah, right.
situations.
That's because usually when it happens, you're letting your guard down.
Exactly.
Well, in my
yeah.
defense, with the DJ, that was my first time on a dirt jumper. And
Oh,
the
man,
handlebars are just a
Oh.
wee bit twitchier and sensitive.
Yes.
True.
Okay.
True.
I was not expecting to
turn.
jackknife.
And then someone throws a backflip. Whee!
And then I
Behind
just
you.
fall over. Yeah.
This was the first person to jackknife a dirt.
At the top of a drop
You got like a burly kid's trailer on the back. Oh Lord, I jackknifed it.
What was the audio on that? Was like, can you do that or something? You're like, I don't know. I'll find out.
My friend.
And then,
So yeah, he was like, do you think you can get up there? Because single speed. And he was on his mountain bike, and I was like, well, we'll find out. But more in the, like, would I be able to pedal up it?
Yeah.
And I didn't even make it to the approach. Like, I tried turning around, and just, my handlebars just, woo.
That is so
and
sweet.
I just toppled over, and...
So are you a firm believer then? So I have this thought where I have a biological clock ticking in my body, and I can feel... I'm like, it's been a while since I've crashed.
Oh, the dirt tax
and
feeling?
my clock is like, it's like running low.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh.
and I think I wonder if it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Ooh, good
where I
point.
start
So.
thinking about
is
it.
it a
Are
mental
you
thing?
like that? Where you're like, dude, I haven't crashed
It's been
in
a
while.
minute, yeah.
I mean,
Like, I'm
luckily you
due.
got
I'm
one.
due.
No, girl,
Yeah.
you got
You
one
just
2
got
days
one.
ago.
Yeah, you just paid your dirt
No,
tax.
I'm saying, like, in your head, you're like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
due.
You know what though?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
actually fall because you
I
just hugged the
didn't.
tree.
But that
Just
is
hugged the tree.
arguable.
And it's
That
Mark's
is
fault.
arguable.
It's Mark's fault.
It was my fault.
Oh man.
He's like, go in front of me. I want to film you. And I'm like, I don't want to be filmed right now. It was only like my second run.
Second or first even, yeah.
It was
Actually,
the
you know what this
second.
sounds like? This sounds like Kim making excuses for her
100%.
crashing.
Yeah, duh.
Okay.
Duh.
Carry on.
Pressure,
Mark,
man.
why did you
so
make
much
her
pressure?
crash?
It's
Well,
Mark's fault.
Why
You
did you
know,
make her crash?
I decided that
Why do you hate us?
Yeah,
Why?
I
Why do you
thought
want to see me
she
fail?
was
I don't even care
in
what he
my
has
head,
to say.
in my head there was the delete button, like, it's better to capture something cool than miss it.
Yeah.
And then I capture something
Hold on.
I
You
didn't want
delete footage?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Oh my
Yeah.
God! Can you imagine as
There's been
as a
hundreds of
YouTuber? I
times.
can't imagine how many terabytes of footage you would have. That is just like
Oh, the chopping floor when
No,
you're
but I'm
editing
saying
is-
like if you were to like have a crash, you're deleting that?
No, not necessarily a crash, but like how many times have I dropped in and then I got to the bottom and I
Oh, and you
clicked
did-
on the
you
camera and it turned on. I'm like,
yes,
oh,
it's
no.
that little
Yeah.
trash.
Or
Okay.
you
that's
forget and you record a whole climb.
So I took I totally get deleting because
Just
that's
garbage
lame. I don't
footage,
need
yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's saying like he caught me crashing, so he's like, oh, I'll just delete it. I'm
Oh
like,
no,
you
I do.
can't delete that.
I do offer that
That's
to
respectable
people
though, right? Because
Yeah.
like some people don't want to have that on
Really?
camera, and I
they get embarrassed
appreciate
or whatever,
that, or
yeah.
maybe they got hurt and they don't feel like they want to like relive that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I do respect that. Now I'm of the camp that all of my crashes, I'm like, dude, those are hilarious. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder if I would have this very heinous crash, if I would want to see it again, or maybe you just kind of want to wipe it from your memory and not think about it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, if it
So-
was something serious.
Exactly. So
I
I
could
Yeah.
think it's interesting. It's good that you ask that
It's
because
just communication,
just be like,
'cause-
hey, like, is
yeah.
it okay if I post that or anything?
Right.
Because yeah, some people could be very against it.
Yeah.
So.
I just threw it out there. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say keep it.
Yeah.
But for the 1 out of 10 that's like, I honestly wish you wouldn't have posted that. I would
Yeah.
rather avoid that situation
Well, yeah,
altogether.
because me and Mark
Yeah.
were riding in California, and you munched on some dirt when we
Oh,
were riding.
yeah, that
and
was a goodie.
and like we had a conversation about it afterwards. I'm like, hey, like, are you okay if we post this up? And I like, because I was gonna send it into like some of
Yeah.
these fail things. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you okay if I do that? And he was
I was
like,
like,
yeah, do
hell
whatever.
yeah.
And I was like, great, but I was like, wanted to ask because I don't want to use your flapping body as like content, you know?
But I feel like this is like news to me, right?
Wow. Okay.
And as someone who's trying to progress some more, I appreciate seeing crash footage.
Oh, so you could learn?
Like,
from-
and I really appreciate the people that are like showing like their iterations of trying to nail a trick.
Absolutely.
And that like
Yeah.
they're not
Oh,
just
I
doing it
see.
on the first time. Like
Yeah.
it actually it gives me more confidence and more encouragement.
Absolutely.
To see like, oh, it doesn't just come naturally.
Yes.
Like you
Oh,
do
you-
have to practice. You do, even when you're the most skilled rider, like you screw up sometimes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I appreciate
The
seeing that
progression.
stuff.
Yeah.
It, like that really like vibes with me
Yeah.
to know
Yeah,
like
that's
it
cool.
gives me more encouragement and it just because like you're trying something, you keep failing and failing and
Yeah.
failing, and it's just like I'm never gonna do it, and then
Especially-
you realize like, oh wait a minute, like these guys are failing too.
Yes.
Like none
Yeah.
of this stuff is natural. You just have to keep practicing.
Yeah.
But to be able to see other people in the progression and time that it takes.
Yes.
Yes.
And
That's
it's like,
what
yeah,
I
you pop on
appreciate. That's true.
Instagram and you
That
see
is
all these
good.
really cool edits, and you're like, dude,
It's
this
all
guy's
polished.
just good. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute, like they probably did that 20 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like I
Get the
want to
perfect
see
shot.
Yeah.
that. Like to
Yeah.
me, that's encouragement. That's
Yeah.
encouraging me as
Yes.
a rider who's trying to get better.
Yes,
To see like, oh, it's okay. Like that it's taking me a while to get there.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's
So
true.
I like that. And then it's also it's also encouraging to see like really good riders mess up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yes.
I can see the respect of like, maybe I don't want to see your knee or your femur.
Yeah.
Or you're really hurt, or it's
Yeah.
like very traumatizing. I'm
Yes.
talking about the
silly hugging a tree and
the
sliding
stuff
out.
where like you're
Yeah.
clearly not hurt. The person's like not laying on the ground,
Yes.
not getting
Like
up,
convulsing.
I'm a big fan of laughing off crashes. You know, like because
Yeah.
I
Gotta.
had a pretty decent crash a couple weeks ago, and it really hurt. But like I fell, and I was like, oh, I'm okay, and I like got up and carried on. And then it was one of those things that when I actually like finally sat down in the truck, I was like, oh man, like I'm in a lot of pain because the adrenaline kind of weared off. But like always after a crash, I'm like, if I can laugh it off, I'm gonna laugh it off because I'm just super happy I didn't break anything.
Seriously,
and I can
right?
ride out. So like
Yeah.
I'm always like just trying to be like, oh yeah, that was no big deal, and just let the adrenaline take you back
Yeah.
to the trailhead.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Was that
Seriously.
Angel Fire?
No, that was at one of our local tracks in Santa Fe, and it's funny because it happens all the time on the green trail or on your favorite trail
Gosh, so
that you've
much.
ridden, the favorite trail that you've ridden a million times.
Yes.
You get kind of lazy and you make a silly little mistake,
Yep,
right? Yeah.
yep.
I feel like that's where it is.
I was on a trail at Greer Ranch, and it's called Insidious. It's like
Yes.
one of their hard, techie ones, and I got to the bottom, and I could see the exit, and I just pedal struck a rock, and it sent me over the trail face first into another boulder.
Did you
it
have
was
full
like-
face on?
I had a full face
Oh,
on.
good.
Yeah. But it broke the GoPro and like messed everything up. And it was just like, man, and I was like, I was done. I should have done
You
that
saw the
way up
trail.
there.
Yeah, you saw the truck, you're done. Yeah.
Yep. Boom.
Wow. You know
Yeah.
what? That's interesting. It's interesting that you wear half shells after losing your teeth. like honestly, you would think after you kind of had a face hit that you'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna put the full face on because
I didn't even get a full face till Killington.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's respect though. Killington Bike
Amazing.
Park is legit.
That place looks sick. I've been snowboarding there. It's a really steep hill.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
full face there.
Yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I took a couple tumbles.
That's crazy. It's surprising that you're
But
just
even
like
full face, I took a
Yeah.
handlebar to the chin. So it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
not,
Foolproof.
it's not full chin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know. I cracked a
that
rib.
chin.
I cracked a rib last summer in Park City, and it lo and behold, it was the rib that was the only rib that was sticking out from my chest protector.
Oh.
And I was like,
Oh,
of course, you get the one
course.
that's exposed.
Yeah.
So I
Bike-
guess it's good enough, right?
Yeah.
Bike Park chest protectors. What do you guys rock?
I'm wearing the Liat one because Liat's one of the few that does a women's specific one, and it is very good.
What's it called? The Liat.
I don't know what it's called, but
Okay.
it's interesting. It's a D30 protector. It's not like a solid plastic piece.
Okay.
So it's it's got full back protection and chest protection and things like that. But if you're wanting like a heavy, like rigid plastic, this one wouldn't be for you.
Okay.
But I like it because it's like I said, it's a little bit more women specific, and they have like a nylon, like stretchy material kind of on the side here, so it actually is like supportive of your chest and
Gotcha.
doesn't just like totally smash and spread your boobs apart. And I think most women who are running chest protectors have that female specifically out one. It's very good.
All right.
Do you
Yeah.
wear
No,
one?
so I'm in the market for one
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
again, I'm starting to challenge myself, and I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, it's time to get some chest and back protection.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and I mean it's funny because I think most women who wear that one, they're like, yes, like this is the protector for me, because like I think a lot of guys are on that like rigid plastic Fox one.
Yeah.
And I've never worn one, but
Yeah.
the Liat one is just it's too good.
I ended up going with Liat as well.
Yeah.
For the guys. And
It's comfortable.
it's
and
super comfy.
It washes well, and mine has
Breathes
been
well.
pretty durable. I've taken
Yeah.
some huge hits on it.
Yeah.
And I swear I get up and I'm like, dude, I'm so happy I had this chest protector on. It's like
Yeah.
it would have been so much worse if I didn't
And
have it.
when you hear scary stories about people's spines getting tucked and everything else like
Scary
that,
stuff.
that I was like not messing around with that. I was like
know.
getting this armor on for parks.
I
And even
know.
sometimes I got the stuff that's like still covers you. It's softer, but you can use it on
Yes.
trails.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm not messing around. We're going to be a lot of rocks today. I'm just going to throw that on. Why not?
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
it minimizes any damage that may happen. And if that gives you
Yes.
confidence, great.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know a lot of guys who are like, oh, I feel, like I always say, like, I feel like the Michelin Man. If you have the neck protector on, elbow pads, knee pads, like sometimes I feel too constricted because there's so much equipment on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to find that happy median. I know some guys who just go out with a full face and call it good.
Yeah.
Like I'm definitely a fan of my chest protector, but I do understand that a lot of people are like, oh, I feel kind of uncomfortable with it on.
Yeah, that's limiting, movement and everything. So you're going to be in the market. I mean,
Yes.
you also, I think you had told me the other day you're committing to the Killington Enduro race, it sounds like, this summer?
It's not. That's not Killington.
Oh, okay.
No, it's somewhere
You're doing
in
an
Ontario.
enduro,
Oh,
though?
Ontario, yes.
Yeah. So
Tell
remember
me.
Jocelyn from
And
Moab?
Victor, yes.
Yeah. So Joss signed up for an enduro race, her first one,
Whoa.
and it's like kind of like the weekend of my 40th birthday.
Sweet.
And she's like, you should come out and do this enduro race.
Sounds like
with
my
me.
worst nightmare.
And I'm just like, oh, I don't
climb.
know. And like, I'd have to like make a trip first because like I'd want to know the trail before like going and
No, that's the
blind.
beauty of enduro.
And yeah, so I have, I think, gotten talked into it. So
Amazing.
Yeah.
Have you raced enduro before?
I have never raced at all.
Wow.
Ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Like not since like high school track.
Talk
And that
about-
was
yeah,
on my
let's talk
feet.
about
Talk about an unpopular path to progression. Because for me, when I was like, I want to get better, I immediately went to enduro. And I was like, it's going to be pressure. I do good with competition. That's going to get me better. And I raced enduro for years. Now I just don't really want anything to do with racing. I'm just super happy dawdling around on the trails. But that's interesting because you've been riding for so long, and this is your first enduro.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never felt the like need or desire to race.
Yeah.
But it's also always been in my head like the races where it's just like, 100 people all in a pack together.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm
like short track looks
no,
insane.
Yeah,
pass. I don't
right.
need to be around all that.
Yeah.
But the enduro, it's like, all right, like I could like I think I can get on board with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean,
So-
it's kind of cool. It's cool to benchmark yourself against people and be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and honestly, that's what I like about enduro. And like the spirit of it is right. You're supposed to do a pre-ride, but it's really just how good are you at making quick decisions, essentially blind riding a trail,
True.
which is a fantastic skill
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
have.
How's
So
the
it's-
tree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or like
How quick?
minimize damage,
Yeah.
minimize
Yeah.
picking your best lines, or
Mhm.
obviously pick your best lines and things like that. So that'll be cool to see
Yeah.
how that
yeah,
turns
that
out.
was so cool. And they released the
Wow.
track so late, so like you can't really cheat. You
I
know?
love that. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That's really cool.
That's
And
cool.
I think Kim was saying that another thing is the whole competition, and maybe there was a fear of like signing up for the race and that feeling of
Like
that.
the pressure, like
the
Yeah.
pressure,
like,
yeah.
You're like,
I have
I've
a
done it.
tendency,
I signed
like-
up. I got to do it.
Well, no, like more of the why I haven't is like the pressure of like, am I going to push myself a little too hard?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
and then
that's
like
hard to
get into the
manage.
point where like I have taken too much speed through something, and now I got squirrely, and now I'm gonna hurt myself.
yeah.
So that's kind of what's held me back. I
Mm-hmm.
had a work injury in 2016, torn labrum in my
Labrum.
shoulder and messed up upper back, and it's like it's a forever injury.
Sure.
Thing I love about mountain biking is very limited issues with it.
Awesome.
But I've had that chronic pain.
Yeah.
I'm in some level of pain every single day. So it's kind of that's holds me back as well.
Yeah.
And that's why for like that 2016 to 2020 basically was like just ride within
Just chill.
your skill level, maybe a little bit further. Like you don't need to push it. You're having fun. No need to like get injured and have more injuries.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's been something holding me back until I don't know, COVID and riding more, and then it was just I caught the itch even more. And
I like that aspect, and I think it's something worth talking about because I think most of the people that you have on the podcast are all about progression and getting better.
Seems like, yeah.
And let's even
We have
talk
that in
about
common.
the other thought of this of like, I'm mountain biking, I'm getting good at mountain biking. My knee-jerk reaction is to give back, trail building, coaching, some sort of influencing, and
Mhm.
things like that.
Mhm.
But the reality is, mountain biking is just getting you out in nature.
Yeah.
It could be healthy. It could be a great mental health release.
Yes.
And sometimes I think it doesn't need to be anything more than that.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
a good
you're saying
point.
from 2016 to 2020, you were just enjoying yourself.
Yep.
Riding within your
Yeah.
skills, probably being social, being healthy.
Mhm.
And what a huge part of mountain biking that a lot of people don't talk about. You did that
Yeah.
for 4 years and you were very pleased with it, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't even really riding that much. Like
Mhm.
I think I logged more miles last year than I did in like that 2016 to 2020 combined.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Dang.
so
But does
don't-
it make you any less of a mountain biker?
No,
Absolutely not.
absolutely
No,
not.
no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But your progression probably felt a difference, yeah?
Yeah, I think like when you start like kind of hitting, getting up that skill level, all of a sudden like the itch gets real deep.
Yes.
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 Real
Yes.
deep. And it's like all I care about is mountain biking. Like all I
Yes.
want to do is go ride my bike.
It's addictive.
Yes.
All I want to do is go ride my bike.
Love
like,
that feeling.
Can I go ride my bike? Can I squeeze
Mhm.
in a ride? Can
Yeah.
I get so that's all everyone's like, oh well, what are you doing like 2 Saturdays from
Riding
now?
my
I'm
bike?
like, I'm riding my bike, and it's all
Yes.
going to be dependent on the weather. So I'm either riding in the morning or the afternoon or the evening. Like I'll
Yeah.
let you know. Like seriously, everything for me social wise
Yeah.
revolves around when I'm going and riding my bike.
Spoken like a true
Kim
mountain
and
biker.
I's
Love
vacation plans for Bentonville were heavily contingent on the weather, and me and her
Yes.
were prepared to not come here if it was going to be rainy this weekend. And, and it was funny because I'm just like, you're a mountain biker. You understand that I'm not solidifying my trip until like 48 hours before I actually have to go.
Yeah.
But you know,
Free cancellations always.
Right.
free cancellations.
That's always what I'm
72 to
looking for.
48.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude.
You never
Well,
know.
So it's funny. One of my girlfriends that we've been riding together for years, she pretty much took a year off mountain biking because she was focused on other things. And I've been riding with her this weekend, and she's just recently gotten back into it. She's been riding and training for probably a couple months, and she's as good as ever, if not even better. And I think it's interesting that a lot of people are like, oh, if I don't ride every day, and if this isn't my blood, sweat, and tears and everything to me, I'm going to get bad and I'm going to fall behind. And she's a perfect example of taking a year off and focusing on family and priorities. But the sport's always going to be there for you. And I think it's a testament to making it a lifelong sport. And, you know, I think a lot of people, especially since COVID, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I've been riding for 4 years. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, you're a COVID rider.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like,
me.
It's okay. Yeah. Another perfect example, right? And it's like, you know, us who've been around it for a decade, more than a decade, it's like, there's going to be years and months where you hate bikes.
Yeah.
And you're maybe not interested in it, or you're focused on other things, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Gosh, I hope that never happens.
You know what? But if it does, don't feel bad.
Yeah.
And I mean, because honestly, for me, January through March, I didn't want to touch my bike.
Yeah.
And I wasn't gonna ride unless my husband was like, "I put your bike in the back of the truck, and we're riding."
Yeah.
And so that was good that he was able to push me for that. But I was also like, you know what? I'm not gonna be stressed if I don't get miles in this week.
There are some days where it's like, I really should go, but it's okay if I don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always end up saying too, like, I'll never regret going for a ride.
Absolutely.
But sometimes it's okay to not go.
Or
It's
to
okay.
ride a little slower.
Yeah.
Or not hit all the A lines and be like,
There's
you know what?
so
I
many
don't feel
times
like doing
ride
that
by
today.
myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to call anyone to meet up because I want to go at my own pace.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know when I'm going to get out to the trail.
Right.
So yeah, like you go by yourself, like you're going to clear your head.
Yes.
I this is, of course, like no one will believe it, right? I almost always ride better by myself.
Wow. I'm scared to ride by myself.
Like
A little bit.
it's like,
Is there less things going on in your mind that you're thinking about?
I don't know
You feel
what
more
it
comfortable?
is. Maybe like because I'm not worried about like someone behind me or
Sure.
trying to keep up with someone. So
That makes
like
sense.
it's just
you and the trail.
It's all me and
Yeah.
my pace, and yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I totally respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of, I can't believe we are already up on the hour, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
But before we go, I mean, everybody that comes to Bentonville for the Bike Fest, we're all coming from different places: California, Michigan, New Mexico. But we all get to come here and melt together and mesh, which is so epic.
So perfect.
But let's give some shout outs to your areas, to the people, to the bike shops, to the trails.
Yeah.
Amanda, since the co-host,
Yeah.
what you got going on there in New Mexico?
So New Mexico, we're a super quiet, tiny little, well, not a tiny state, but population-wise, we're a pretty tiny state. Got a fantastic bike shop up in Taos, which is super close to Angel Fire Bike Park. Ralph Guevara, Molly Crickman own it, and they're actually a Jameis dealer. I think they deal transition as well. Those guys take care of all my stuff. It's a really great fast turnaround bike shop, and they're doing so much for their trail community down there.
Yeah.
Down in Albuquerque, we have the Albuquerque Mountain Bike Association, and the president of that association, she is a 30-year-old professional enduro racer. I don't know how this woman has time to be the president of association, lobby for all these amazing progressive trails, and still kill it on the race circuit.
Sick.
So I cannot thank someone like her for doing all that type of work, because personally, I'm not the type of person to want to like lobby for new trails, and like that's just not something that I want to do. So like to have that association be so strong and build amazing mountain bike trails for us, it's a dream come true.
Now,
So
you've always been a trail advocate, like when you were down in the South, right?
Yeah,
And then
well,
you moved there, and they had a pretty strong presence of trail
absolutely,
advocacy.
yeah, and it's amazing to have someone who already has such a strong presence and is good at it.
Yeah.
That I've been like, oh, like I don't have to lean into that quite as hard, because in Kansas City, it was a pretty small group of us free riders who wanted to progress, and there's a lot of red tape to limiting that. And it's amazing to see the maturity in New Mexico. Like they've kind of already cut through that red tape, and we have some amazing riders there. Like my progression moving to New Mexico has been massive, just being around other people of a higher caliber. So yeah,
cool.
that president of AMBA, she's something else. I'm so happy to have her like as an advocate for us.
Shout out to her. What's her name again?
Hannah Russer. Yeah.
Is she on Instagram?
She's on Instagram. Both her and her partner, they're huge in that space and in the racing space. Just huge part of the community.
That's awesome.
So thankful
you
for them.
Scored.
I know. Yeah, New Mexico's pretty sweet. Best kept secret.
That's amazing. And then let's head on over to Detroit with Kim.
So my local bike shop is my dad.
Nice. Shout out to Ed.
So yeah, that's where everything goes. But my area, we have some really great trails around Metro Detroit, or maybe an hour out. DTE in Chelsea, DTE Energy Foundation Trail. It's like 22 and a half miles of 4 different trails, which it seems like nothing, but that's a lot for Southeast Michigan.
Sweet.
And it's all professional built, flow, lots of like side kicker stuff, so you can get some great action. Like 10 minutes from there, though, you have your absolute like flip Potawatomi Trail, which is old school, like rooty, tight, techie, where like the climbs are awful because like all the roots, it's just like, okay, maybe I want a 29-inch tire. But then like when you're getting in the downhills, it's like drop.
Sweet.
All the it's just a fantastic trail out there. And one of the things, though, we have so many like smaller trail systems. So like my local trail is Stony Creek Metro Park. It's only like 10 miles, but they've got like 3 jump lines that they put in, like
sick.
And they make everything with like ride arounds. Everything's optional, but like it's just enough to like get the blood flowing and feel really good. But the thing that I want to push right now, because there should be a decision coming out, is in Michigan, the state-owned lands where a lot of the mountain biking trails are do not allow e-bikes.
That's very surprising.
Interesting. Wow.
And so Michigan Department of Natural Resources, they were looking into a pilot. They had a survey go out questioning people like what their thoughts on e-bikes are, which ones should be allowed, what shouldn't be allowed. And they were reviewing the survey results, and they were going to make a decision on whether or not they would try a pilot for like a year on allowing e-bikes on state managed trails.
Wow.
And I'm not sure if it got announced yet.
That feels like an old-fashioned argument.
Yes.
But every state's been going through it.
Right.
And so it's like, and so I ride with my dad a lot. So there's a lot of trails that he can't go with me because he's primarily on e-bike
On his
now.
E.
And I'm just like,
Damn
come
it.
on, Michigan, please.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, please allow e-bikes, class 1
I'm
on
pretty
the
surprised
trails.
that you guys are
Yes.
having that conversation now, especially with places like Copper Harbor. And isn't like Progressive Trail Designs and Rock Solid out of Michigan? Like, huge
So
trail building
and again, we have a
companies.
lot of like county-owned, like all the county-owned trails, like
But it's the state.
e-bike friendly. Anything state
Interesting.
has not allowed e-bikes.
Come on, Michigan.
I know. Come
Yeah.
on, Michigan.
I mean, it's crazy,
like,
but
if you want to bring the people, you gotta allow the e-bikes.
Seriously.
yeah,
So.
Sedona's in that same boat too for such an amazing place. You're like,
True.
wow, how?
And that place is built for e-bikes. Like, 'cause you
Yeah.
could just do miles of all that kind of like cross-country riding and be a
Mhm.
perfect spot for it.
Oh yeah, you go to Highline and you're like, oh wait, I still have to pedal out of here.
Exactly. And it's like, it's pedal assist. Like, yeah, don't allow Surons on the single track, but like
Right,
pedal
class
assist. Like,
one.
it's not, you're not going to be brapping up corners.
Yeah.
But that's a problem. Like,
It got lumped in
Stony
the
Creek,
same-
our local, like,
They're like,
some
it's a
kids
dirt
on
bike.
Surons are coming out and they're tearing up our jump
Which
line.
Yeah.
Surons are sweet, by the way. But then the answer to that is maybe go build some motocross tracks as well.
Right.
It's,
yeah.
And it's
Yeah, class
Come
one.
on.
Class 1 shouldn't be lumped into that,
Yeah,
but it does get
exactly.
lumped in, and
Yeah.
then it takes
Yeah.
forever to like pluck it back out of
Yeah,
there.
I mean, it's a matter of education, right? And that's the thing with the education and advocacy. It just takes a lot of work and
Yep.
repetition to be like, let me explain to you again how pedal assist is different than an electric motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
So somebody was traveling into Detroit and they brought their bike with them, but they'd never been there before. Where would you recommend them to go? Say they're like a solid, like beginner rider.
So I'd have to say DTE in Chelsea because they have like a green loop. It's literally called green. So it's literally green. Sorry, I'm backing up. I got so excited. My hands were going to go and I didn't want to hit the mic.
Just throwing hands.
So yeah, DTE. So they've got green loop. There's 2 blues, and then there's a black loop, and
Sweet.
so you can
Wait, are they literally called green, blue, and black?
It's so the green is the green, but then there's win and game, and then sugar. Sugar's the black. Sugar's
nice.
the black.
Good play on words.
And they're all like looped in too, to where like you've got cutouts, you've got connectors. There's 2 different parking spots too, and then the other thing I like about is they switch direction every other day.
Oh, what?
That's really
How
cool.
do they do that, with a sign or something?
Yeah, so there's signs posted at all the trail entrances, so you know like which day is which direction. And so like it's a total different experience from one day to the next.
Whoa.
That's cool.
That's cool.
So Sunday,
I don't
I'm
think
like,
I've ever been to a place
there's
like
more
that.
climbing
No,
on Sunday.
Right?
But then
we don't go on Sundays.
Yeah. But then, it's each day has their pros and cons.
Wow.
More pros than cons, of course.
cool.
That's
But
cool.
that's probably the Southeast Michigan place to go.
DTE.
And again, like 10 minutes away is Potawatomi, and that's 18 and a half miles. If you're not feeling the 18 and a half, there's a little cutout to make it around 14.
Wow.
And then that gets you that like old school stuff too. So you've got Flo over here and Rudy Techie
Tech
Twisty
over there.
Turney over there. And there's actually like a connector too, so you can combine them all.
Oh,
there's
dang.
like
Go for
a
a big
event
day.
in the fall, the Triple Trail Challenge, which I've never done because
Do
I'm
all
like
of 'em?
45 miles.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
That sounds hard.
Yeah.
That sounds hard.
But you ride more, and suddenly, like, I remember days where I'm like, I can't ride 10 miles. I
Yeah.
can't ride 15 miles. I can't ride 20. Like, I just did 32 the other day, and I'm like,
Huh.
Yeah.
I can't believe, like,
It's amazing.
That's ride every day,
Right.
or 3 times a week, and suddenly, like, 32 miles is nothing.
Yeah.
The moral of the story with this is there's sick trails everywhere.
Everywhere.
Super easy to get fit. If you want a mountain bike, you don't have to be in Whistler to mountain bike. You
No.
don't have to be in the mountain bike capital of the world to be a good
Yeah.
mountain biker.
Right.
You can have fun in your backyard.
Yeah.
I love that. And for all the, let's just talk about Jamis bikes real quick on close. For the women out there that are interested in a bike, I mean, one of the things about Jamis, is it true? Is it owned and operated by women?
It's a women-owned company. It's
Okay,
women-owned,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a draw for you girls, or?
What are your thoughts on that?
So, I don't know if this will be polarizing, but
Yeah.
like it was more like when it was mentioned, I was like, oh, that's cool. But it didn't make me go, that's why I want this bike. Like
Exactly.
the bike spoke
Oh.
for itself.
So they're not marketing that the bike is specifically made for women.
No, it's not
absolutely
a
not.
women's
Ah,
bike,
I
but
see,
it's a
I see.
woman-owned company, and so
I
that
see.
was a cool thing.
Okay, that's a big difference
I'm
in my
a full
mind.
believer
there,
that guys and girls can be on the same bike, and
Yeah.
there should
Yep.
be no women's-specific bike or men's-specific bike.
Yeah.
Like, I think we can all get on each other's bikes and
Yeah.
rip them around pretty
Yeah.
dang
Yeah.
good. So
There you go.
It was
Yeah.
just a bonus. Like the bike speaks for itself. I love I've demoed a lot of bikes over the years. Shout out to Outer Bike again, best demo bike in the universe. Demo event. And the Hardline, I fell in love with it. I absolutely fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So it was just a bonus to hear that it's a woman-owned company.
That's cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. So
I would
yeah.
agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. All the women and men shredders out there, take a look at Jamis Bikes. Have 2 cool women here in the studio with me right now, with co-host Amanda Hamilton
It's your girl Amanda Hamilton.
and our guest Kim Churchill. Tell everybody where they can follow you if they want to follow more of you after this podcast.
You have a cool handle.
MTBSheenQueen. And that's SHEEN, not the like Chinese Sheen, which came up the other day.
I never thought of that.
That's
That's hilarious.
yes. So, and for those that don't get it, it's the oil slick. Okay, in the oil world, we say oil sheen on water, and it's oil slick components in the mountain bike world. But I'm all about the.
Kate Church is an environmentalist,
She
like as
is.
her day job, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Amazing. Saving the planet.
For real. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm Amanda_Hamilton 12, the
Mhm.
most creative handle ever.
Mhm. Well, we can't all be MTB Sheen Queen.
That's fair. That's fair. I might
Yeah.
steal. I might be MTV Sheen Queen, like
two.
the Chinese clothing.
Oh, the knockoff. Spelled with another E at the end.
Dude, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Actually.
MTB Sheen E Queen.
Oh, there goes Amanda in her cheap clothes again.
It's falling off.
Yeah. Hey, you don't have a chamois on.
I did, but
Started,
it fell off.
Right.
started with a chamois.
Yeah. Oh, you bought the sheeny one with the E at the end. Oh, no.
Dude, that's so funny.
This has been episode 156. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Oh, also, by the way, on the exit, we got some glasses here sponsored by Spy Optic. And both of you guys get some
these are
Spy
looking-
monolith glasses.
I am appreciating this because
Yeah,
the
let's
Midwestern
see.
sun is
Let's see these
nuts
colors.
out here.
Also sponsored by Mother Earth Brew Company. We got some Mother Earth in the house. Oh, let's get a tight shot on these. Oh my goodness.
Whoa, the mirror.
Good grief.
Sheen Queen
The
coming
Sheen
in
Queen.
hot.
Good Lord. Pow.
I'm going to say it.
Look at
Brit
that.
Brap. We should go do a lap.
We should take a lap.
Let's go get some laps in. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in. Take a look at these gals on Instagram and YouTube for Amanda Hamilton. Maybe
Yes,
a
sir.
YouTube, but definitely an Instagram for Kim. And we'll see you guys all on the next episode. Recorded out of here from Bentonville, Arkansas.
Yeah, later, guys.
Ow.